Welcome to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I am Jordan,
I'm Ben.
and welcome to episode 2.
Episode 2!
What it means to us to be a good dad. Or-
And a good dude.
And a good dude.
So you kind of got to do both.
Got to do both.
And yeah, we really wanted to just describe to us what that really means, right? Like, him and I have done a lot of talking these last couple of weeks about what the concept is to each one of us separately and to obviously people asking about it. But I think it'd be really cool for each one of us to share like our perspectives on it in our own way.
Yeah.
And Jordan's going to go first because he created this baby.
Oh dang! I was gonna have you go first.
Oh,
okay,
I could go first
No,
if
no,
you
no,
want.
no. I'll go first. Do we want to do like each one separately? You think
Yeah, let's go. Well, I mean, I feel like they're kind of,
they kind of are the same thing?
yeah.
Okay, so for me, what being a good dude, good dad is like as a person, it's first and foremost do what you say what you do, and follow through. So part of it was funny enough. Part of creating this brand and repping this brand was to hold myself to a little bit of a higher standard. You know, I don't expect that standard for anyone else, just for myself, right? So, you know, following through on what you say you're gonna do, being a man of integrity, being someone who's loving and kind and gentle, but at the same time having that dog in you. You know, being willing to stand up for what you believe in, and staying humble throughout the entire experience too. So, lead by example is my big one, man. I mean, lead by example is,
Before you keep going,
yeah.
what does leading by example mean to you, though? Because depending who you are, where you come from, what religion, whatever the heck, leading from example can mean so many different things. So what does that mean to you?
Oh shoot.
Sorry.
No, that's a great question.
Where's the mic drop one?
mic drop? Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Let's go. So for me personally, so it kind of takes it takes two standards, right? So the first one is leading by example. I'm a person of faith. That's just me. You don't have to be. That's me. So when I talk about integrity, when I talk about being respectful to others, when I talk about treating your wife with respect, when I talk about being a good dad, it means I first have to lead myself through those things, and I have to first be held accountable for those things. So, you know, when it comes to loving my wife, it's valuing her opinion. It means loving her every day. It means taking her into consideration when I do things, and the betterment of the family. When it comes to business dealings, you know, it's treating my business partners and the people that I'm working with the most with respect and with love, and trying to do the most I can for them, even if it means that you're not always going to get reciprocated. In my, you know, as a dad, it means it means putting my kids' needs above my own. Like, I think we talked about that last time, where it's like you forfeit your kind of your right to yourself in a lot of ways. You know, there's times where I come home and I'm exhausted. And don't get me wrong, there's times where you need to rest, but for the most part, putting that away and putting away a day that I might have had, or put away any feelings that I might have, and spending quality time with my kids and building memories and enjoying them. And especially like right now, my wife is pregnant with our third, and she's just exhausted when I get home. It's putting that exhaustion that I have, you know, being up early, working, building businesses, making connections, talking to people, putting that aside. And even though I'm exhausted, spending time with my kids, making sure dinner's done, helping her around the house, making sure that she's feeling well rested so that she can go on being a great mom. Yeah, I guess that's kind of leading by example for me means, you know, not doing everything for everyone. And I feel like that's that can be a misconception. That's a misconception that I've had before. But living up to the standard that you're setting or talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's solid.
Was that too much?
No, summarize that. You're basically, your style of leading by example is just doing what it takes.
Doing what it takes and doing what you say you're going to do.
Perfect. I like it. So, I cut you off in the beginning, but to carry on from that, um, I mean, you kind of just answered it in a nutshell, but continue to kind of talk about being a good dude and a good dad from that perspective of you already said, yes, you're going to do what you say. Um, and I am also a person of faith. I love Jesus. I attribute pretty much every single good thing in my life to him, and where I'm at in this life is because there is a God. And again, you don't have to believe that, and that's awesome for you if that's what you
Yeah.
if that's what you are. But for me, a life verse for myself and my wife and our family, we actually just had our kids dedicated last weekend, and the verse we picked was James 1:22. It's super basic, it's super to the point, and that's kind of um, how me personally leading by example is genuinely captured in this one verse, and it's but be doers of the word, not hearers only, for you're just deceiving yourselves. And so for being a good dude and a good dad, that is it, right? It's for us as faith followers of Jesus, it's do what you say, and you said it already. So this is just the biblical component to that. So with that, like I said, keep talking about to you, like first, I mean, we're both husbands and dads, so we'll speak specific to that. But what does that mean for you in the sense of being a good husband, a good father, but also being a good version of you?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm putting you on blast
no,
today,
dude.
baby.
I think the big, I think the core foundation of all those things, though, is a willingness to constantly work and improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, understanding that you're not perfect and you're never going to be perfect. There was no perfect person. We believe. I'm getting back to the faith thing again. We believe there's only one perfect person, and he died on the cross. But besides that, you're not going to be perfect. So that's just throw that out the window.
Yeah.
But it's a willingness to constantly improve yourself and to be better today than you were the day before. So I think that's kind of the ground floor of all of that is a willingness to look at yourself and say, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to do what it takes to be a better version of myself daily. And that's going to help you succeed. That alone in itself will help you succeed in all those other areas as a business owner, as a man, as a father, as just a person,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a dad for that principle to apply, and then you were talking about the different factor. I have ADD, so it's hard for me
No,
sometimes.
the dad component, the husband component, and then just a man.
Yeah.
component.
So in the husband component, so as a man, I'm going to work backwards. So in the man component, what it means to be a good dude and be better and lead by example is to be a man of your word and a man of integrity. Do as you say, do what you say what you do. That's for me, that's the foundation of it, and constantly try to improve yourself. For a man, that's like a great foundation to start. That's like when I talk to young men that aren't married, and because I like mentoring, men that are coming up in life. That's the first thing that I tell them. Those two things: do as you say as you do, and constantly try to improve yourself. Start with that. As a father, it's that same principle: do as you say what you do, constantly try to improve. But then it takes it a step further. Try to instill your work ethic, your beliefs, and your love in your children. And my whole goal for my life is that, and I was telling this to, I was at an event just the other day, and I was telling this to a young man. He's like, hey, why are you here? Because it was talking about vision and for businesses and personal lives and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, why are you here? And I was like, well, my whole goal in life is to set my kids up to stand on my shoulders so that they can go farther than where I ever have gone. That's something my dad taught me. He's like, if my ceiling is your ground floor, that's my whole goal in life. So that's my next step is I want my ceiling to be my kids' ground floor to moving forward. And then when it moves into marriage, it's all those same things, right? Do as you say as you do. That's going to help a lot in your marriage. Constantly try to make yourself better every day. That's going to be huge on your marriage. Love your spouse and love your kids. That's obviously huge, right? Try to uplift and encourage your wife and let her work on yourself so much that she can stand on your shoulders, so that you can be that anchor point to send her out and support her and love her, and then also show your kids what love truly means by the way that you love her.
Mm-hmm. I like those.
I might have gotten off topic, but those
okay.
those are mine.
Those are good things.
Yeah.
Those are awesome to hear, because obviously each person that listens to this is going to have their own spin-offs, their own versions,
100%.
their own morals, their own faiths, their own religion, their own background, their own ethnicity, their own everything, right? And so his perspective, Jordan's perspective, my perspective as Ben doesn't, mean that's the perspective.
Oh, no.
I think we're living in such a day and age with social media and just all the keyboard warriors out there. If you're a keyboard warrior, oh man, good for you. I'm just gonna say it that way. Like, keyboard warriors in this generation need to
Put some more French fries in their face.
they just need to wake up. You can be a keyboard guy all you want, keyboard girl all you want, but I mean, I would encourage you to get away from that. Get outside and freaking just stop being a keyboard warrior.
Well, just think of this. Like, if you're willing to, we're talking about this, right? Do as you say as you do. So if you're going to be a keyboard warrior, are you willing to say that to that person in front of their face?
Probably not.
Because we were raised in like the 90s, right? To the point where, like, if I
I
talked.
was born in the 80s.
Yeah, but you were raised in the 90s. You're raised in the 90s. I mean, like, I talked crap like that once, and I got punched square in the face. And I learned pretty fast that, like, you can't just say that.
Yeah.
Just
I think
say
it
that
was
to people.
Mike Tyson that said, I'm gonna butcher
Everyone
it,
has a
but-
plan until they got punched in the face.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's so true. But and I'm not saying like you need to get punched in the face.
No.
Anyways, we got so off topic, but
Sorry.
no, I brought that up for a reason, because what I was gonna say is, it's totally okay to have all of our own different beliefs, our the way we live our lives and conduct ourselves, the way we are husbands, the way we are dads, the way we are businessmen, the way we work, the way we interact, everything, right?
Right.
That's why we freaking live in America. You can do whatever the heck you want.
100%.
But the reason why I said the keyboard warrior thing is, as we progress and we grow this thing, there's going to be so many people out there that just want to hate and criticize, right?
Oh, 100%.
Which is rad. Good for you. But
Yeah.
why don't you get up and go do something then?
Oh.
That's why I brought the keyboard warrior part up, because there's going to be people that want to be like, oh my gosh, well, it's so easy for you guys to say, do as I say, blah, 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 but you don't know what it's like to have X, Y, and Z. And it's like, bro, you don't know what we go through. You see this right here. You don't understand how we got here. You don't understand Jordan's past, my past, the things that define who we are today. Like, I was a freaking turd for not a good portion, a couple years of my life after the Marines. And, it taught me personally through life experience what it means to be a good dude and to be a good dad and to be a good husband, and to just be overall a better version of myself every day. And so with that, like I'm gonna give you the condensed version because we said a lot of similarities, but for me to be a good dude, it's very simple. It's just like that Bible verse, whether you're a Christian or not, you could still live by it. And it's what you've already said, just a different form. But be a doer and not a hearer.
Right.
Like, I want to always lead from the front. I want to be an example, good or bad, to those around me. I want to live my life in a way where the next person's like, dang, there's something different about him by the way he just lives his life.
100%.
Whether you like it or not, whether you support it or not, I want to live my life in a way that shows there is a difference in me.
Yeah.
And that difference is because of my faith. That difference is because of my past. That difference is because of the life circumstances that I was dealt. And not just dealt, the cards that I continuously play.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people out there will be like, oh, well, you were born into X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. That can be a factor. But I also choose every single day to make the choices that I make on a daily basis. So for me, being a good dude is that it's constantly striving to become better. And you said it, better today than you were yesterday. Just constantly trying to be better, constantly trying to figure out how can I myself put in work so I can continuously be a better person. And then as a good dad, for me, it's again, um, I was fortunate enough to have amazing parents growing up. I got to see uh, genuinely the impact that my parents have had on so many people's lives, that as a dad, I want to take all those principles. I want to take the be doer of the word and not hearers only mentality.
Mhm.
And I want to show my children what it's like to constantly just live your life in a way that is different, that is showing love, showing discipline, showing respect, showing that there's a lot more to life than just the instant gratification of today's world.
Yeah.
And so for me, being a good dad is all of those things. It's letting my kids never wonder if they were loved. It's letting my kids never wonder, is my dad coming home? Never letting my kids fear, like, what, if I do this, does my parents, are they not going to have love for
100%.
me? Like, no,
100%.
I'm going to discipline the heck out of you
Yeah.
out of a place of love, not
Right.
out of a place of anger. And so being a good dad to me is doing everything it requires,
Mhm.
whatever that means. If I'm driving to jujitsu class and my wife tells me that the kids are having a hard time, it means I turn around.
Yeah.
It means I go home and I be present. So my kids see that they are my priority,
Right.
that they are what I truly, truly care about. And so, yeah, that to me is what a good dude and a good dad is. And, the husband component, it's the same thing. It's showing up every single freaking day. It's constantly telling your wife, showing your wife through your actions what they mean to you and how they mean like that to you by doing things for them,
Yeah.
right? And to set the record straight, there's going to be a lot of you out there. Not a lot of you out there. That's messed up. There's going to be people out there. I just had this conversation 2 nights ago that there's this approach where like you constantly as men, we have to be like the firm foundation, the rock 24/7.
Oh
Right?
no.
That is by
Oh no.
all means not the case.
Oh no.
We need to let our wives be that rock for us, that they can, that they are. Like it's such a trip to me where I hear old school mentalities of like, oh my gosh, like I'm the man, blah blah blah. Like, dude, my wife has picked me up so many times on the days where I just, there's just those days, there's those times where you don't feel like you're enough, you're not doing enough, you're not providing enough, you're not enough. And then to have an amazing wife and support system that can be like, no, you are more than enough. You are doing this. You are doing that. You did this. You
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
Listen to you right now. You're even in a position where you're constantly like being so hard on yourself because you want to show me, your wife, your family, how like much we mean to you. Like that's more than enough.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, being the rock, it honestly gets. I think it has. There's a great book called Tender Warrior by Stu Weber, and he talks a lot about this. But if you get a chance, I highly recommend it. But being the rock doesn't mean that you're like a cold, like calculated, like heartless, void of emotion, stuff everything down. Like that's not what that means.
Mm-mm.
You know, being the rock is being an example to your family what strength and sometimes what weakness is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's yeah, I 100% agree with you where there's this misconception that you just need to be tough all the time and you just never take your armor off.
Yeah.
And that's not true. You know, that you need to do it in the right place and in the right way, but if you don't take your armor off for your family or for your wife, at times that can lead, I think that can actually lead down a dangerous road, you know, to adultery and all that different stuff as well, you know, just because your need, you know, everybody has that need to feel loved. And if you're not allowing yourself to be loved, that can cause issues.
100%. And it's just, that's another thing that is leading us back to wanting to like create what we're creating here, right? This
Yeah.
space that we're creating. There's a lot of places for women and mothers and to kind of connect and to feel heard and seen and because being a parent, being a spouse, being a business owner, like unless you're in the same life situations, like it's not really understood anymore unless you're there, right? Like some of my best friends, we said it last time, but like love them, but they don't understand what it's like to go home being exhausted and beat up and having to, take care of your children, not having to, getting to,
Yeah.
the privilege and the ability to get to choose to do that.
Yes.
And so this space is what we're really hoping we can create as a place for men to feel like they can belong, right? Like I'm not trying to like have this stinking sappy retreat all the time.
No.
But I think it's really important for us men to be able to have a place where we can go and we can be confident in sharing our life experiences.
Yeah.
And in those life experiences, the goal is to create a brotherhood that can literally transform a generation. I know I'm
100%.
like, that's like a big statement, right? That's bold. And there's so many other guys doing similar things to this, but I truly believe that there is a need and a void for what we're trying to create here. And
Yeah.
again, it's not just because we have it all figured out. Like we don't have freaking crap figured out. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to figure it out as we go, but we're trying our best. We're putting in work to ourselves. We're, there for our families. Our wives and families are there for us.
100%.
We have great mentors in our lives, each one of us separately. And we're just trying to continue that and to carry that out and to and I'm going to say, and it's a bold statement, but creating a space that's needed to fill a void that can genuinely change like generations.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to have guests on that kind of eliminate the excuses that we have for not being a good dude, good dad. Because
Yeah.
like, to be honest, like both of us, we grew up with. Luckily, both were blessed to have great parents. We have our own. Do you have issues at home? Yeah, everyone does, right? Everyone has issues in their family. Although you guys don't know what we've been through, for the most part, it's really easy to look at us and be like, yeah, you guys live in California, Orange County area, pretty privileged. But we know a lot of people that are great dudes, great dads, just great people that didn't have necessarily those same opportunities and all that kind of
100%.
stuff. So I'm excited to eliminate those excuses. And then two, I just want to remind people, because I had this conversation with my wife a couple days ago, that you're looking at when you see someone on a platform like this and you're listening to a podcast, you're looking at peaks. You're not looking at valleys,
Mm-hmm.
and it's real easy to get caught up on looking at Instagram and listening to podcasts and all this different stuff. And as you're listening to this, right, as you're watching things, you're in a society now that you're looking from peak to peak to peak to peak to peak to peak, and you're thinking that people are just peaked all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not how life works. That's not how we work. That's not how our life is going. You're sitting in a valley looking at somebody else's peak and going, I wish my life was all peaks. And
Yeah. Or I wish I had that.
Or I wish I had that,
yeah.
and you're not grasping the whole concept of that. So I want to encourage, our viewers, and as we get going, that just remember, like, we're going to share our struggles and our failures. And that was one thing that I was very intentional when I was creating this podcast was, I talked a lot about on my first set of podcasts that we just got rid of because it didn't work. We're doing everything better now.
Not better, different.
Different. We're doing it different now. But as I talked a lot about my failure too, because I don't want people to think that it's just peak to peak to peak to peak. To
Yeah.
peak. And I'm not always going to be a good dude, and I'm not always going to be a good dad.
For sure.
There's going to be times where I actually do feel like punching someone in the face. Those moments are going to happen. So, just don't get caught up on peaks.
And don't get caught up on instant gratification because of the stupid social media world. Social media is a blessing and a curse.
It is.
This day and age is a blessing and a curse.
It is.
And everything that we're doing in life means nothing unless we are truly doing it for the right reasons. And so we're excited. I mean, we're gonna keep, obviously pushing. We'll start our guests in the next few weeks. we're trying to build that foundation.
Yeah.
Jordan and I are still working through a lot of things, but please make sure, we're going to keep saying it, and I always feel so lame and douchey saying it, but like, help us share it. Help us,
Please.
just follow. If a wife is listening to this, please encourage your husband.
Yeah.
If you think of any good guests that we should have on, let's like have them come on.
Oh yeah, please. Please.
It's not about Jordan. It's not about Ben. It's genuinely about like creating this space. Like that's what it's about, and that's what got me so excited about the Good Dude, the Good Dad brand and model. It says everything in it.
Yeah.
And wearing that and seeing that is also a reminder to us as well as like, yo, you got to be a good dude and a good dad.
Yeah.
Jordan actually just said it about an hour ago to me and to one of our other buddies, because I was giving him a hard time about creating a business that's going to take a business away from my business. So you know who you are. But he was like, oh, man, good thing you're not wearing a Good Dude, Good Dad shirt or hat. And I was like, no, I wish I was. I'm just kidding. But awesome. Another good episode, my man. We're trying to keep them a little shorter.
Yeah.
To start, right?
Let's go. Ready to close it out?
Yes, sir.
Boom.
I love this thing. Oh my gosh.